Hello, Beatball World. Welcome back to the Independence Day Beatball Blues Show. Have a very exciting episode coming forth that I'm very excited about. First, I got a few things I got to throw out there. I like to throw out my show notes, starting with introducing myself. Hello, I am the captain, your 2000 offensive MVP, five-time world champion, Neil McJetlife. Whoa, where'd that come from? I don't even know what I meant by that. But last week I forgot to introduce myself. That was I was surprised at that. But it's all good. I think people kind of know who I am at this point if you turn it on every Sunday night. Little sound update. I do finally have the new headset that was coming, but I'm not happy with it. So this will be the only night that I use it. It makes a very odd noise if I hit the cord awkwardly and get a weird hum. So I'm going to do my best not to mess that up in any way, shape, or form. But I do have another microphone, and I'll be looking all professional for those of you who can see next week. I'll have the mic stand, big mic in front of me, whatever, so I'll look a little more official. And hopefully, finally get to sounding better. I want to quickly say I apologize to Ethan Johnston, my guest last week, who for whatever reason, even though I have known his name is not Ethan Johnson, all of a sudden last week I started calling him Ethan Johnson again, and nobody corrected me. So I did it the whole show. So my apologies to Ethan because I knew better. So where that all came from, I don't know. And finally, I just want to say thanks to people. I want to say thanks. Doing it here, doing this show here on Zoom has given me an opportunity to either go one-on-one or bring in other people. And, started when I reached out to Eric Rodriguez, said, man, we could go one-on-one or you could bring in teammates. And he was instantly into bringing in his teammates and sharing this thing. Same thing as last week. I had Andrea and Demetrius Moro on while we were, while I was featuring Ethan. But I really couldn't, we didn't even really talk too much to Demetrius about playing with the Jets and his career. We did a little bit, but not too much. And that was something planned going in, and Demetrius was totally on board with that, both Andrea and Demetrius. So I appreciate them. And the same thing happened this week. I reached out to a friend of mine, Axel Cox from the San Antonio Jets. I was like, dude, we could go a few different ways. One of which is, we could go one-on-one, or you could bring in your teammates. And he, just like Erod, said, man, let's get my teammates in here. Let's do a whole Jet thing. So let me introduce to you from the San Antonio Jets, I have Axel Cox, his
Jet Life.
His teammate Zach Arambula. Did I get that right?
What up?
Did I get that right?
That's good enough, man.
Look at me. And David Smith, one of the newer players, not new, but one of the newer players in beat baseball. Welcome, David.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. Appreciate it.
You bet. It's my pleasure, fellas. One thing I like to always do when I get folks on here and start talking about the sport a little bit is ask you how you got into the sport, when you found beatball, how you found beatball. And it's totally up to you on how you want to answer it. I've never asked anybody to answer in a specific way. So start with you, Axel. Where do you find beatball? How did you end up playing?
Oh, man, I found beatball in 2007, summer 2007. I was at the School for the Blind in Austin, and Richie Flores took me out, and Zach as well took us out to the Blackhawks practice. And, the rest is history. Fell in love with the sport, and my rookie year was next year in 2008.
Very nice. This dude Richie, man, he's out there. That guy's a good ambassador for the game.
Oh, huh? Yeah.
I've known him to be a good dude, but every time I get somebody on the show, they're, Richie, like he helped out with wool. You know what I mean? He's
the best. One of the best for sure.
That's a good dude. All right, Zach, what's your story?
Well, like Alex said, me and him both went out at the same time. I was still caught up on Go Ball at the time, so I didn't join 08. I waited a year and joined in '09.
Very nice. And you both have been. I'm guessing you guys have both been locked in from that point forward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What about you, D. Smith? I know you've only been around, what, 3, 4, 5 years?
Hold on. Zach didn't mention in '09, his rookie year, he was offensive MVP as well. So.
That's right.
Yeah. Standing right there next to Luke, saying some crazy stuff like he always does.
Yeah, Loop, man, Loop. When Loop played with the Dogs, when he come to California, most of the time he stayed at my house. Man, you never know what you're getting from Loop once he starts talking. That's my boy. But no, that's big time, man. Congratulations on that. I should have remembered that. But the thing, '09 was my last year, and the Dogs had a really solid year that year. Thing I remembered was like when there like 3 or 4 Dogs that made the all-tourney team on offense that year. Wasn't it like Loop? I don't even know. Loop, Lex, probably Chance.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I don't know, but I was MVP.
Yeah, hey, thumbs up, baby. Thumbs up, man. You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right, D. Smith, man, what's your story?
Yeah, so in 2016, I ran into Zach at a downtown bar, and he walked in with a cane. So I was like, "Oh shoot, somebody like me in the house." So the first thing he told me was about b-ball. You heard of b-ball? And I had heard of it from when I was a kid at the school for the blind. But I had no idea there was a league. I had no idea there was tournaments. I had no idea there was a World Series. So as soon as he told me, I said, "Let me know when the next Jets practice is," and I was out there.
Had you like played any kind of sport? Like, have you been blind your whole life, or have you played organized sports before b-ball?
So I most of my life I was only blind out of one eye, legally blind out of one eye, and I had 20/70 in my other eye when I was younger. But I wasn't allowed to play most of any sports because of the retinopathy prematurity. It's like detached retina.
Yeah.
So honestly, no, I just did stuff in the neighborhood and just lifting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, B. Smith, he left out a funny part of that story, man.
All right.
We're both at that bar, and that wasn't the first thing we had in common because we were both CrossFit coaches, and he actually didn't see me with my cane, and so we were just talking to each other like we didn't know both of each other were visually impaired or blind.
Right.
And so we were just talking, and someone came up to us like, "Oh, y'all are both like visually impaired CrossFit coaches," and we're like, "What?" And so so then I brought up b-ball. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that story kind of reminds me of a Southwest commercial they had up a long time ago that I thought was one of the most hilarious things, where there's 2 blind guys walk into the same corner. It's like a 4-way intersection, and one bumps into the other, and he's like, "Hey," he grabs his arm. He's like, "Hey, you mind if I walk across with you?" The guy's like, "No, I prefer it. Thanks." And they both jump out and start walking in this traffic together, and that's when the Southwest want to get away or whatever. I thought that was
that's pretty funny.
So your little story reminded me of that. So Zach and Axel, I want to ask you because you guys already mentioned you both started out together on the Hawks, and then you're both part of the that there's a group of people that I don't know. I never thought of that as like the team dividing. Like I've more looked at your situation when Austin, went from Austin Blackhawks to being that both the Blackhawks and the Jets are, I know you're not the same organization. I'm not saying this well, but I never looked at it as like they're like personally from the outside looking in, like you guys had a big division. It was more like you had enough people for 2 teams, you're kind of spread out, and that's what you guys did. But like the Blackhawks got one of the best histories of any of our teams ever in this game. On top of the fact you guys had just won back-to-back championships, that had to have been a tough move. I mean, whenever you start a team and you got a Kevin Simpson in your back pocket, you can have confidence to start something. But that was still a bold move. If you guys wouldn't mind, talk a little bit about making that move and just difficult, easy.
It wasn't a difficult decision at all because me, Axel, and Kevin, you know, every weekend starting in April, every Sunday driving an hour, hour and a half, or 3 hours traveling down and back from San Antonio to Austin.
Yeah.
We built that relationship, and it was always, we always talk about it. Always like, man, we need to build a team in San Antonio. We need to build a team in San Antonio. Always talked about it. And but it was always known for the start, like shit. Wherever Kevin and Ax go, like, I'm going, and it was, you know, vice versa. I'm sure
it was me and Zach that would, you know, we had the idea in our minds, and I like to say that we kind of pitched it to Kevin, and we wore on him, and finally, in 2015, we had won the championship. We finally beat Taiwan. We lost to them in 2012 in the championship. Lost to them again in the championship in 2013. Then we beat them in 2015 for our second championship, and Kevin hit us up. I think it was like later on that summer.
Nah, bro, it was the day after.
Oh, the day after?
Wow.
Yeah, it was like that week, man. It was fucking quick.
Yeah, it was time. It was time.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm lying if like it wasn't hard, because like, you know, we were on a roll. We won 2 championships.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but Neil's right though. I had that confidence. I don't know about Zach, but I had that confidence in me, Zach, and Kev that you know, it didn't turn out to be so. But I thought that we could put the team together and come back and at least compete for the championship. And you know what I'm saying, in 16. But
it would, and also like it must have been good timing, because like the amount of talent we got right away was badass.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys definitely started with, you know, a leg up in the situation. You were no brand new team, but you know, I could relate to that, because when we started the Dogs, we were no brand new team. You know, a lot of us played on the Blaze together. You know what I mean? We had experienced players. We weren't fresh. We were young, but you know what I mean? We had experience. So you definitely have a leg up in that situation. Hey, D. Smith, I was wondering, for you, coming into that, because you joined a team that is like championship ready, basically. You know what I mean? They hadn't won a championship yet. You know, right? I mean, you guys are still right there knocking at the door, but you know what I mean? You joined.
Yeah, like
you were coming in as a team with expectations. What was that like jumping in?
Yeah, so I go to my first practice. I don't know what to expect. You know.
Yeah.
It was a good practice, I guess, for my first day. But I go back home and I started doing my research, you know, my history on all these guys, you know, Zach, Kevin. And I'm like, dude, holy shit! I feel like I just got drafted by the Spurs. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, so
yeah.
You know, the same way that Axel felt and Zach felt when they started it, like the confidence they had, I had confidence right away. I was like, okay, obviously I'm meant to be on this team, so. You know, let's do it, man. So it's been let's go ever since.
Yeah. I'm starting a new round of questions, but I'm going to stay with you, David, to start it out. So talk about obviously you've gotten off to a good start. When I had the Thunder on, man, both Ty and Erod, the Rodriguez brothers, man, they were talking about you got them figured out on the left side, man. They can't stop you. So, you know, for you to be so kind of new to the scene and playing in these big games, who's had the biggest effect on your career early on?
My whole entire team, man. Like, they're my brothers, and without them, I'm not nothing. You know what I mean? So, I just saw how much confidence they had in me, even when I didn't have it in myself, and that just kind of carried me through since the beginning. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised how well I could hit. You know, I knew once me and Kevin got our stuff down, and it was going to be you know, long balls all day. You know, so
right.
But my main thing, I'm just working on my defense, so I can be a two-way player.
Yeah. No, good for you, man. Keep it up.
Yeah.
And speaking of defense, I'm going to combine you guys again, Zach and Axel, because, you know, I anytime I've talked about defense on here, about teams getting better, about how our Dogs team, you know, how we were the defense that we were. I've never talked about it and left like Don Robinson's name out of there, because you know, there's no individual person I've ever been around in beat ball that could teach an individual player to play better defense with fundamentals and everything than Don Robinson. I know he he can help an entire team. But there's no player in the league that can't benefit from working one-on-one with Don. So I know I've heard you talk about having worked with him, but if you guys could share, like, okay, I've said it a lot, but I played with him on the Dogs or whatever, so people probably expect me to speak highly. But since you guys got a chance to work with him also, man, what do you say about working with Don and what you learned?
So what I would say is, before Don Robinson, I had all the talent. I had the natural ability, the hand-ear coordination, all that.
Yeah.
With after Don Robinson, he helped me put all of it together and make a good defender. What I'm saying, I'm a great defender now. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And that's thanks to Don.
I was kind of trying. I'm sorry. I'll let you go in a second, Zach. But I was kind of laughing preparing for this, Axel, because when you and I, I don't think there's too many blind people out there that are surprised to hear. We end up in like conferences once in a while, whatever. And that's actually how I first met you. And at the time, like found out I was a beat ball player, and you knew who I was because the Dogs were good back then or whatever. But you were on the Hawks. I'd never heard of you or whatever. I'm not saying that to dog you. I didn't know who you were. But now here we are doing this show, man. Nobody playing now knows who I am, and you're the big dog on campus, man. I was tripping at how like things have changed in the last 10 years, man. Good for you. But what about you, Zach? Man, tell me about working with Don. What do you get?
Working with Don, man, he's the real deal for sure. The real deal. When me and Ax went out there to Cali to train with him, he helped me slow the game down. You hear athletes talk about, you get experience, the game starts slowing down for you. That's what happened, and it changed my defense. It made me better, which helped our team, go win a championship.
Turn Zach into a two-way player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's controversial. I always thought I was a two-way player, but but he definitely made me better. You know what I mean? He solidified it, and I can't speak highly of him, man. He treated us well out there. He took care of us, and shout out to Don Robinson for sure.
What up, Don?
Yeah. I think we all have kind of experienced the same thing. I played with Don. Don was our pitcher when we were on the Blaze. He didn't. Don didn't do anything with our defense, but he was always studying players like Ray Marshall to see what it was that made them different. And then when we started the Dogs, his eyesight had gotten bad enough that he didn't want to pitch anymore. He didn't feel confident in his pitching anymore, and. So when we started the Dogs, like, he just focused completely on making us better defensive players. And, we were, most of us were pretty good already, but when he starts talking to you about stuff like looking at the ball and, your feet are going too fast, you're taking too big of steps, it's like your body's not pointed at the ball. It's like all of a sudden you're hearing stuff that no other coach is telling us. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up because, man, there are some funny conversations back home when Don Robinson came in and he was giving Kevin pitching tips. And Kevin wasn't very. I mean, if you know Kevin, dog, Kevin, he
wasn't very receptive to
it. Yeah.
No, listen, I'm not trying to clown the dude, but Don doesn't have like an off button once he's decided to go forward with something. To me, this is like the funniest Don Robinson story ever. So even though Don worked with all of us one-on-one, there's nobody he worked with more than E-Dog, Eric Mazariegos. And he was out with Eric like 20 years ago doing a one-on-one practice. And Eric was just like starting to get like stretched out and stuff. And Don was setting up their area. And they were at this park where it was just the two of them on one end, in a bunch of people at the other end of the park, but they weren't anywhere near the other people. So they figured, forget it, we'll just practice right here. And so they start playing, and the guys yelling at them, like, get off the field. We have this field, you know, and Don's looking around, and nobody's within like 200 feet of him. He's like, man, forget you guys. I'm not moving. We're practicing. You're not doing anything over here. Turned out the people were practicing archery. They're out there shooting arrows. They're out there shooting arrows, and Don's like, I'm not leaving this field. You can't make me leave. Eric and Don, you know, if you've been around Don, you know his hearing's not very good. He can't hear it all out of one ear. So his hearing's not that good. And these guys are yelling at him, and finally Eric picks up on it. It's like, Don, man, they're shooting arrows. Don's like, they're what?
So I got one in my leg right now.
Yeah. So that's my favorite Don Robinson story. So go ahead.
I can't say my favorite Don Robinson story.
Yeah, I can't either. But
Rated R.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I got you.
And but one that Loop always fucking tells us is
there you go. Say you can't tell the story, then drop an F-bomb. There you go.
Yeah, there's a story that Loop always tells us when Don Robinson taught him to play defense, and he tied his feet together or something. And I was like, hey, bro, man, if I go to Cali, I don't want my feet tied. You know what I mean?
So D. Smith, man, I'm gonna ask you first. I like to ask when I get a guest on the show. I'm gonna ask all of you to expand on this a little bit. But tell me about some players around the league that you're digging on, man. Who are some of your favorites?
Oh man, there's so many. I got a lot of favorites, man.
So you just tell me you can't think of any names right now, or?
No, let's see. I mean,
or tell me about team, man. Are there any teams that got your interest? You know, anybody could say the Thunder. Any teams out there you see on the up?
I hate every team out there but the Jets.
All right.
So,
all right. That's the way I played. I get you. That might be harsh to some, but that's the way I played. I was nobody's friend when I played.
Yeah. I mean, as far as players, man, other than my own teammates, I'm like, you know, I like Eric Rodriguez, you know,
right.
Zach Bueller, the ones that get those impossible balls, man. I just like watching them play. So other than us, I'd say them two.
It seems like your team and the Thunder, they got like a healthy respect for each other. You know what I mean? When I was asking them like players that they liked, I know that Zach came up. Yeah, I know you came up. I was impressed that, you know, like a younger, newer player. It's like they're like, oh man, you gotta check out D. Smith. This guy could hit. So, Mr. Arambula, who are you looking at?
I'm gonna shout out a couple coming up players. I know Zach Turner. He's one that, you know, offense came natural for him. He came out in the scene pretty quick. If he could just like hone in his defense, he's gonna be a really good two-way player. And shout out to the Titans, their coming up team.
Yeah, Demetrius brought them up when he was on the show last week. The Titans seem to have people's attention right now. I'd like to get some of them on the show.
Yeah, you know, a couple of Mike Coughlin, Scott Harwood, and all that.
Right.
And then, you know, respect to the Thunder for sure, always doing their thing. There's a couple of new coming up in players for the Hawks too. That, you know, they're gonna come up playing good offense right off the bat.
Isn't that am I mixing? So which team is Zach Turner on? Is he on the Titans or is he on?
He's with the Titans.
Okay. Yeah. For some, you know, his name came up once before, and I was thinking for some reason I thought somebody told me he was on the Hawks. But you know, I'm an old man. I mix things up pretty easily.
and then for sure, Thaxton, man, he's like a Tim Duncan. He's always gonna be there offensively and solid on defense.
Nice. Who are you looking at, Axel?
Yeah, I like Christian Thaxton from the Renegades. I like Darius Sterling, the shortstop for the Hawks. Of course, I like Mike Finn.
Big game, Mike.
Eric Rodriguez. Zach Bueller, Miguel Tello, Adam Rodenbeck. I like a lot of players, man. Ja'Cory Riley, Corey White. A lot of players, man.
Mhm.
Isn't Ja'Cory? I know Ja'Cory's got good speed. Who would you? Because you just mentioned Corey White. The Thunder were telling me they think he's maybe the fastest dude in the league.
Nah, MJ's the fastest dude in the league. Mike Jackson.
Who's Mike Jackson play for? I'm not.
He plays with us.
Oh, okay.
Plays with us. If you're about to ask me who's the fastest player, I mean they had the fastest man competition and all those dudes were in it, and Gerald Dykes won. So I mean I gotta say Gerald Dykes.
True.
I knew Gerald won that contest, but I didn't know. I wasn't out there. I know, like back in the day in the early '90s when we had those contests, like none of us ever put our best runners out there. Although they used to do it at like opening ceremony. That's when I don't remember when they did.
It was opening ceremony.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was open ceremony.
So like we were never going to put our best runner out there at opening ceremonies the night before the tournament. We didn't care about any running contest. You know what I mean?
We didn't either.
They were all out there. Corey was out there. Nick Silver was out. All the dudes who said they're fast.
All right.
They were out
Who
there.
did we put out there?
And that yeah, it was a little Ricky. And that was the thing that shocked me about the league, man. I never knew how much speed there was in the league. There's a lot of athletes out there in the league. Even from Tyler. Now that I'm thinking about it, I like this dude Jason. He was their runner, and he was fast as well. He was at the top. Ron Jordan, he's not fast, but he's a good hitter. I got respect for him too.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. All right, so this part here really is just kind of for all of you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up after that, unless you guys got some other stuff you want to drop in there. But this here will be more of kind of a round table discussion or whatever. So you guys have been right there at the edge, ready to take that step over the top of the mountain. And I know what it's like to be in that situation. You know what I mean? The second year we were the Dogs, we finished third, and we realized, you know what I mean? We realized that we belong there. You know what I mean? Our focus during the off season, each time we got closer, got more intense. We never got to a championship game till '98. We never won it till '99. But like each year from like 94 on, really, it's like we kept learning little things, that we needed to do to take that next step. So where are you guys at now as a team going? I know this isn't a regular season, but you got this tournament coming up in Indy at the end of the month. I laughed when those brackets came out. Seems like one bracket's really heavy compared to the others. I could be wrong. I've been away from the game a little bit, but one bracket's really top heavy. But so you guys are gonna get your chance playing the Thunder again, and other teams that are there, but they're the defending champs. So where are you guys at with taking that next step?
Zach?
As a team, I think we're ready. I feel like we've been ready since 2018. We came short, not making the championship for some unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
And I just think that players have developed. I think with the Jets pride ourselves on developing players. D. Smith is turning into a two-way player. Big Willie has fixed his swing. And if we can put it all together, man, like you said, we feel like we should be there, and we just got to play the game and see how the outcome comes out.
Am I right? Like when what I'm saying when I say like when you get like so close, it's like, man, you leave the season just wanting to start the next day because you realize what you need to do to improve, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like last year, it was crazy. It was crazy circumstances. We had a really, really late game. And then they even pushed up the game. I'm not making excuses, but pushed up the game early. And I just felt like we weren't there. And we need to be better at having spotters that are consistent coming out of practice. And I think that's where we're need to improve at.
Yeah, I heard you guys talk about that. I listened to the Jet Life podcast. So
Yeah.
I've heard you guys talk about that on one of those episodes about this was going to be a big year for you guys improving the spotting situation.
Yeah, hopefully we address that a little bit. We definitely have a solidified spotter, and then we've been working for this year. Obviously, again, unusual circumstances with COVID, we have had spotters that we usually have not be able to come out just because they want to play it safe, and so we're just rolling with what we have this year.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy that Zach was saying that we had the late game on Friday against the Renegades, and then they moved up our championship game early. He said we weren't there, and I agree we weren't there. But for us not being there, man, we took the Thunder to extra innings, bro.
Yeah, you did.
So that says a lot for our team, and I'm definitely proud of my team, our team. I'm definitely proud of the steps we've made, the improvements that we've made, and I got all the confidence in the world in us, man. And I'd love to just go out instead of playing a tournament, an 18 tournament. I'd love to go out and have like a best of 5, best of 3 series with the Thunder, man. Just get it on, man.
I thought you were gonna say best of 7, man. Let's just make
best
it like
of 7,
a real World Series.
I don't know if we'll be walking after that, man. So.
Yeah, right. Well, we wouldn't have to do it like normal beat ball style. You don't have to play all 7 in 2 days. You know what I mean? We'd do a game a day, every other day. But that you talk about that pride. I mean, I'm 52 years old. I've had different things that I've been proud or ashamed of, but for me, there's no pride that compares to like a team pride. You know what I mean? When you work that hard as a group on such a big project, and the pride like you could share. You know what I mean? It's not an individual pride. That's a pride you could share with your teammates, man. And to me, that's my. I haven't felt that really since I left beat ball, and that was my favorite kind of pride,
I mean, we call it Jet Life for a reason, man. It's family over here for sure.
Yeah,
it's all family.
Yeah, I always called the dogs like my second family, and this is no knock against my own family, but honestly, I spent more time, and my teammates probably knew me better than my actual family did. You know what I mean? So it is really a family environment. D. Smith, man, what are your thoughts on which way, on the team's next step, or even yourself and how you're gonna help the team take that next step?
Well, the cool thing is that us newer guys, we're still improving. We improve every single year. We're not taking no steps back, and we're improving this year, and we're gonna improve next year, and it's gonna be real soon when everything's gonna come together, and we're gonna take over. You know what I mean? So I think our team is the one we're built to change everything. We're built to end their reign. And they worked very hard. And I respect them like crazy. But I just feel in my heart that we're the ones meant to end it. So it's gonna happen soon. Everything's going good.
Yeah, no, I feel like I feel like you have to respect it. It doesn't matter who, you know what I mean? Who, like back in the '90s, we were trying to knock off the Blackhawks. You know what I mean? Somebody else later tried to knock us off. You got to have like that healthy respect, or you're not. If you don't respect like what you have to do, you're not gonna get it done.
I just want to say it's even more micro than what D. Smith is saying. He's saying we get better every year. I see D. Smith and Zach and everybody and where we're playing on defense, what we're doing. I see us getting better every practice. And even and D. Smith is saying he's a newer player, but it's not just newer players. It's me, it's myself, it's Zach, it's everybody who always has room for improvement. And like I said, we're getting better every practice, man.
Right.
Yeah, true that.
No, I mean, to reach the dream, like everybody has to live it together. If when you like have like something you're trying to keep in motion, like you guys do, your team, everybody's got to be on that same page. You know what I mean? You can't take that next step unless everybody sees the vision together. You got to have that equal like look at what you're trying to do. You know.
No, for sure. And what's cool is that me and Ax have been through this before. You know, like when we first joined the Hawks, fourth place, and then we improved, and then we met Taiwan like twice or three times, lost to them in the championship, and we had to keep coming back, keep getting better, and it's good that we have players on our team that have been through this.
Yeah, no, there's
help each other out.
There's no substitute for experience. And you can't get experience without like running deep. You know what I mean? It's like the first. I remember the first time, like being a starter playing on Friday. It's like, oh, man, it's only like 3-4 teams left. It's like nerve wracking. But then a couple years later, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's like you expect to be there, so you're prepared for it. So no, there's no sub for experience. Well, fellas, I really appreciate you guys taking time and doing this. I've appreciated getting to know you guys a little better. Axel's really the only one I've known. I like listening to the Jet games. Andrea's always streaming the games you guys have, so I love listening to A-Dog streams. So I'm a fan of you guys. I'll be pulling for you. I hope things go well for you in Indiana. Especially hope you guys get there and get home safe without any, this COVID nonsense affecting your path.
Yeah, man. We're gonna be good, man. We're gonna go handle the business trip. We'll be good though.
Jet life.
Yeah, boy. You know what's up. It's always gonna be Jet life over here. We're all gonna be doing our thing. And if you're always if you're at the World Series, for sure come meet us at Midnight Ball, baby. For sure. We'll be out there holding it down.
Jet life.
Jet life, baby.
I definitely will be coming back. I literally hate that I've been gone as far as I've had. I'm never gonna waste anybody's time going down the list of things that have prevented me from getting there. But in the end, I intended to be away a couple years. I needed the break, but I never intended to be gone this long. When I think about it, it's like, man, I feel shameful. Need to get back to my family. So I'll definitely be looking you fellas up when I am back.
All right.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll be expecting you.
All right. So since you guys said you've been checking out the show a little bit, at least one of you should know how I like to end this show every week. Is anybody on board with how I end my show every week?
Oh, man, I said I watched it. I never said I watched it to the end.
Okay.
Jet live.
Oh, bam, to the head. I opened myself up for that one. So I always finish by saying goodnight to Aunt Cindy. So I'll give a little.
Right.
I'll give a little 3 count. If you guys could give Aunt Cindy a goodnight, I'd appreciate it. 1, 2, 3.
Good night, Aunt
Cindy.
Don't forget about Jet Life, Aunt Cindy.
Jet life.
Yes.
Thank you, fellas.